Good morning all. So today we are going to discuss the last part of that scattering parameter, and then we will enter to the devices, and with respect to devices what are the scattering parameters are available, that also we are going to identify. But before entering to those uh, topics, I want to discuss a few things with respect to the scattering parameter what we have discussed last class as a signal flow graph. That is the important factor of a scattering parameter. As we have seen that different numerical have different steps through which we can identify the scattering parameter according to the given condition. Similarly, with the help of signal flow graph also we can easily determine the return loss, insertion loss, whatever the losses we have discussed in the previous classes. Okay, knowingly to understand the scattering parameter, whether it is a 2-port network, whether it is a 3-port network, whether it is a 4-port network. Okay, now since when we are discussing about the signal flow graph, it is quite similar what we have studied in our control system. Okay, in that also you people have seen how to identify the total block diagram, how you have converted the total block diagram into the signal flow graph, and how you have identified the transfer function with respect to input and output end. Okay, similarly with the help of the same concept we will proceed to discuss the signal flow graph. 1 minute. Okay, so as I have written in this board about the signal flow graph, when we are discussing about the signal flow graph, two important factors will come into picture. One is node and one is branch. Now the node and branch, already we have seen how we have represented that whole block and what are the properties are there, how we can disseminate the total complex block into a simplified manner to identify the transfer function, whether it is a feedback loop, whether it is a forward path, how many loops are there, how many untouched loops are there, that also we will see, and that we can identify with the help of Mason's gain formula. Here also we are going to use the Mason's gain formula to form a relation between input and output, or output with respect to the given input. So let me discuss first what is the signal flow graph, how we are going to analyze with respect to the 2-port network first. Then we will enter to the 3-port network while solving the numerical. If you understand the concept of a 2-port network, it is very much easy to represent for 3-port network or for the 4-port network. Only the scattering parameters are going to increase. If it is a 2-port network, 4 parameters will be there. If it is a 3-port network, there will be 9 parameters will be there. If it is a 4-port network, then it is a 16 parameters will be there. Okay, all are n cross n dimension. Okay, so first let me discuss about the port or the 2-port device. Let us consider this is a 2-port device, port 1 and port 2, in which A1 and A2, A2 and B2, these are the two normalized potential available at the port 1 and available at the port 2. As we know that A1 is called as incident wave. Okay, it is called as incident wave. Similarly, B1 is called as reflected wave at port 1. Similarly, A2 is called as incident wave at port 2, and B2 is the reflected normalized potential, or you can say reflected wave at port 2. Now with the help of this relation, the S parameters we have identified. Now how we have identified the relations? B1 is equals to S11 into A1 plus S12 into A2, and B2 is equals to S21 into A1 and S22 into A2. So that means it forms the scattering parameter form a relation between reflected wave with respect to the incident wave. Now in order to determine S11, what I will do, I will put A2 as 0. A2 as 0 means no power is available at the port 2. No incident power is available at port 2. So if no power is available at port 2, you can identify S11 and S21. S11 means it is B1 by A1, that is the reflection coefficient. Okay. Similarly, S21 B2 by A1, that is called attenuation factor. It forms a relation between reflected wave at port 2 with respect to the incident potential at port 1. Okay. So similarly, you can identify S12 and S22 by making A1 as 0. Without supplying any sort of power at port 1, you can form a relation for S12 and S22 with respect to port 2 and port 1. Now, this is a device is given to you. How we can analyze this particular microwave device or two-port network in a signal flow graph? In signal flow graph, two important factors will come into picture. One is the branch and one is the node. Okay, but how to identify the nodes and how to identify the branches? Remember these two things. If nodes are identified means if a particular device need to be represented in signal flow graph, the nodes are nothing but the normalized potential. Remember this, normalized potential. So what are the normalized potential? Incident wave and the reflected wave. So that means how many incident wave? 2, A1 for port 1, A2 for port 2, reflected wave B1 for port 1, B2 is for port 2. So these are the four normalized potential through which we can represent the nodes of a particular device. Now since here we are discussing the two-port network, that means there are 4 nodes are available. If it is a 3-port network, that means 3 nodes are means total 9 ports nodes will be available, because as we are identifying there are 4 plus 2 6. So 6 nodes will be available in the 3-port network. A1, A2, A3, B1, B2, B3. Okay, so depend upon the number of ports, you have to identify the incident wave and the reflected wave. Those are called as nodes. Okay, next, what are the branches? Because nodes will be connected with respect to the branches. Now these branches will help us to understand what is the scattering parameter available between those nodes. So A1 with respect to B1, A1 with respect to B2, A2 with respect to B1 and A2 with respect to B2. Then only we are forming the 4 scattering parameter S11, S12, S21, S22. So that means if it is a 2-port network, the maximum scattering parameters are 4. So these are the linkage between 2 nodes. Okay. So these are the branch, means these are the linkage between 2 nodes. So if I want to disseminate this block diagram, which is a 2-port network, into a signal flow graph, I will represent in this sort of manner. So how many nodes are there? 1, 2, 3 and 4. So there are 4 nodes are available. 4 nodes means each node is represented with one normalized potential. Remember that. Okay. And the nodes are connected with the branches. So here the branches are connected with each other. Okay. So A1 is related with B2. So A1 is related with B2. If I will form, then the relation is S21. So that means the direction will be in this particular direction. S21 means final and with respect to 1. So it is S21. Similarly, first you have to represent that node first. That is the first one. So how to represent? We, according to this relation, we have to represent this one. First A1. Okay. A1 is related with respect to S11 and S21. Remember this. So that means A1 is the node which is having a branches, 2 branches. One is S11 and one is S21. So here I have put B1, A1 and B1 for port 1. Okay. So if I want to form a relation between 1 and 1 with respect to incident and reflected, I will get S11. S11 means B1 by A1. Done. Similarly, in order to represent S21, that means what will be our relation? B2 by A1. So B2 is the final point and A1 is the initial point. So A1 is initial, B2 is final. So I have placed here B2. Okay. And this indicate it is a reflected wave. As it is shown the reflected wave, here it is a reflected wave. So it is S21. Over. Similarly, B2 form a relation between A1 and A2. A1 we have formed. Next we have to form with respect to A2. So A2 I have represented here. It is S22. Now S22 is equals to what? B2 by A2. So that means final point is B2, initial point is A2. So it is A2 to B2. So it is S22. Similarly, A2 is having a relation with respect to B1. So if you suppress this value A1 as 0, you will get S12. So S12 I have placed here. So this is the basic representation of the two-port network in the form of a signal flow graph. So signal flow graph itself indicates it is a combination of nodes and branches as well as the direction. And in each potential and in each particular node, the sum of entering potential must be equal to the sum of outgoing potential. So here the potential which is entering to B2, you can say that the potential which is coming from A1 and potential which is provided from A2 will be added up and the resultant will be taken as an output. Similarly, at this point A2, the power is inserted here and the total distribution in the two branches, one is toward B2, one is toward B1. Similarly, from A1 you can see incident power is given, two branches are there, one with respect to B2, one with respect to B1. And then at B1 the combination combines the power and available as a reflected wave. So this is the basic representation, need not to confuse, because this is the representation through which you can identify different sort of loops, different sort of path, forward path, reverse path, as well as the loops, and you can form a relation with respect to input and output. Okay. For this you have to consider these 2 points. One, what is node and what is branches. Node is nothing but, let us consider for ith port. Here it is 2 port I have considered. You can consider for 3 port, 4 port, n number of ports you can consider. And network has the node, ith port is having a node AI and BI. AI means these are the nodes A1, B1, A2, B2. So if it is a port 1, A1, B1 is the node. If it is port 2, A2, B2 is the node. If it is a port 3, it is A3, B3 is the node. Next, AI is the entering wave. Yes, it is an incident wave to the network. And what is BI? It is the reflected wave from the node. So that is the reflected wave of the port I. And what else? What I have discussed? At a particular node, the sum of incident potential must be equal to sum of outgoing potential. So that is indicated as voltage at the node is equal to the sum of all signal entering to that node. For example, in B2 I will consider. Okay. In B2 I will consider. Here the potential is incident from A1 and the potential is incident from A2 and the sum is available in this. So this indicates that sum of potential must be equal to the sum of outgoing potential. Similarly, at port A2, incident potential is given here and there are two branches are there. One is incident toward B2 and one is incident toward B1. So that means potential is splitted out. So these potential nodes act as a summer as well as a splitter. Okay. Here the potential split, here the potential combines. Similarly, here the potential split, here the potential combines. Okay. So these are the small relations through which we can understand the working principle of a signal flow graph for a microwave networks. Okay. And one more thing is what? Branches. Branches means it is a path between two particular nodes. So directed path between two nodes. So directed path, and each path is identified with a specific scattering parameter. Now here how many branches are there? 4 branches. So 4 branches will have a individual scattering parameter. If A1 and B2 is related, A1 and B2, then what is the scattering parameter? S21. So it is S21. Okay. Then B2 and A2, if it is related, then what is the scattering parameter? S22. So this is S22. Okay. And you need to identify the direction also. That is the most important part. Because according to the direction, these points must be satisfied. You can see at point B, the two potentials are combined and it is outgoing. Yes, at the port 2, B2 is a reflected wave which is called as a outgoing. A2 is an incident, so that power will split. So A2 is incident, power is splitting. Similarly, with respect to port 1, you have to justify. So these are the certain things for representing a microwave devices. Either it is a 2-port network, either it is a 3-port network, either it is a 4-port network, with the help of a signal flow graph. Now we will see what are the properties of this signal flow graph which help us to disseminate the complex network into a simplified transfer function. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so before entering to the properties, let me discuss how we are going to represent the input side, load side, and how we are going to represent with respect to the reflection coefficient at the load and reflection coefficient at the source. So here I have written it is a network representation. Okay, so if you understand these two particular function, it is very easy to represent the whole system into a signal flow graph. First, if it is a one port network, okay, one port network means how many scattering parameters? One port network means only one scattering parameter, that is S11. Okay, it forms a relationship between reflection value and with respect to the incident value. So if it is a one port network, that means there are the two nodes will be identified. One is the incident node, one is the reflected node. So what is the incident node? A is the incident node, and which one is the reflected? B is the reflected. So if we form a relation between A and B, that means only one scattering parameter we are going to identify, that is S11 is equals to B1 by A1. So here that reflection coefficient rho L, that is this is the load, that I can write S11 because it is a one port network, nothing is there, it is only load term is available. So reflection coefficient rho L is same as S11. So this is the signal flow graph for the one port network. Done. If it is one port and this is the load, there is no two port is available. So one port means how many potentials are going to identify? Two. One is the incident potential, one is the reflected. If you form a relation between reflected with incident, we will get one scattering parameter. So how many node and how many branch? There are the two nodes, node 1, node 2, and what is the branch? One branch, 1B, 1N and 2N. Like this I can write. So there is one branch between two nodes. Okay. So this is for one port network. Next, source representation. Now we have seen that a device is going to be energized from one end, and the load end we are going to identify the potential drop and what are the outputs are there. But how to analyze that source end? Then we will analyze the load end. So for source, I have considered Vs as a supply with an impedance Zs, and this is the particular part which is going to be connected with a certain device. So here only I have considered the source part. This is the source part. Okay, this is called as a source part. Now when this is the source part, what will be my incident, what will be my reflected wave? Incident wave, if I will remove that particular device which I am going to deliver, okay, here the device will be connected so that sources can feed the power to that particular device, whether it is a two port network or whether it is a single port network. Okay, depend upon the given configuration. So this source part is available here. Now if the source part is available, your reflection coefficient at the source we are going to determine. Okay, so here you can see A I have considered at this point and B is considered at this point, because the reflection coefficient, what only with respect to the source if I am going to identify, it is reflection coefficient means it is reflected potential divided by the incident potential. Only the thing is that we need to represent this in a different manner. In this case, the upper part we have represented as an incident and lower one as a reflected, but when we are considering only with respect to source, it gets reversed due to the flow of current, due to the direction of the reflection part at the source end. So your reflection at the source, you can see here I have took it as a clockwise, here I have took it as a anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so here it is a reflection coefficient will be moved in this particular direction, current will move in opposite direction, means one complete loop will be there. So it is B by A, that is called as your reflection coefficient. And this with respect to the signal flow graph that we can represent, this is the node at this particular point, this is the B is the branch or the potential at this particular path, and next is A at this particular path. So your reflection coefficient is going to be identified in this particular form. It is B by A at the input side at the source. So reflection coefficient at the source is eta by S we have to represent. So this is the representation for the source. Remember this, because when we disseminate the total network, we need to put this sort of parts in that particular SFG. Okay. So this is the part for the input one. Done. Next, load representation. So at load representation, if only load is considered, then again two node potential will come. One is the reflected, one is the incident. So B2 and A2. Okay, in that SFG we have represented B2 and A2. So it will form a relation with respect to A1 and B1. So it is B2 and A2, and this is the reflection coefficient we are going to represent when we are identifying at a load end. So the SFG will be what? B2 is this particular node, A2 is this particular node, and there is only one branch that is called represented with eta L, and this is called as S22 because each branch is represented with a scattering parameter. This reflection coefficient we can represent in terms of scattering parameter for mismatch condition also as well as for match condition. So these are the three basic principles which will help us to disseminate the complex device to represent in signal flow graph in order to determine the transfer function either with respect to input, with respect to output. Okay, so these are the three network operations, basic operations. We need to identify these sort of things when we are dealing with to disseminate the signal flow graph. Okay, so now we will discuss with respect to the properties, because the signal flow graph, whatever we have studied in our control system, it is having certain properties. Here also we have certain properties, and that properties is called as a decomposition property for this particular discussion. Okay, now we will discuss with respect to that properties. Okay, so here I have drawn few decomposition rule, because when we are going to solve this signal flow graph with the help of SFG, we are going to analyze the micro devices. It is having certain rules because it is having nodes and branches. Now there are basic four rules are there. Apart from these four rules, there are few other rules are also there that we will discuss one by one. Here four rules I have discussed. Then next two more rules are there, that also we will discuss. Now first one is series rule. Okay, series rule. Now here in series rule you can see there are three potentials are there. That means how many nodes are there? Three nodes are there. And how many branches are there? Two branches are there. One is V1 to V2 and one is V2 to V3. So V1 to V2, what will be my scattering parameter? Because scattering parameter identify the branch and nodes are identified with the normalized potential. So V1 and V2 and V3 are the normalized potential. So what will be our relation with respect to the branches? Since it is moving from 1 to 2, so that means it is called as S21. Okay. Then next V2 to V3, which one is the final point? 3. So that means this branch is S32. Now whenever the scattering parameters are in series in signal flow graph, what we have discussed in our control system, again I am telling same thing. If it is in series, you have to multiply. If it is in parallel, you have to add it. Same principle here also. So V1 and V3, if I want to disseminate as a series, then here the branch will have S21 into S32. So this is the total product of the scattering parameter. So V1 to V3, the total potential is this much. So here I can write V2 is equals to S21 into V1. This is the first relation. And second is V3 is equals to S32 into V2. Now in place of V2, substitute this value. You will get V3 is equals to S21 into S32 into V1. So this is my relation. Yes, I am getting or not? It forms a relationship between V3 and V1, what is the total product of the scattering parameters? Scattering parameters S21 and S32. So this is called as a series rule. Okay. Similarly, we have a parallel rule. Parallel means we have to add it. Let us consider the upper path gain is A and lower path gain is B. So when it is combined, what I will write? It is A plus B, and the direction will be from V1 to V2. So here what I will write? V2 is equals to A times of V2 is equals to A times of V1 plus B times of V1. So that means here I can write A plus B into V1, that is V2. So your total scattering parameter, this is also one scattering parameter. So that is A I have written, and the lower branch is also having one scattering parameter, that is B. Here I have added, so V2 is equals to A plus B into V1. So total scattering parameter will be how much? A plus B. Similarly, we'll have a self loop, because in block diagrams, in a signal flow graph, what we have studied, in some sort of point self loop is there. So how to disseminate, how to identify this value? Okay, so let me write that. So that loop will be, first V1 to V2, it is S21, V2 to V2, it is S22, and V2 to V3, it is S32. So these are the three scattering parameters, because there are three branches are there. Two individual branches and one self branch. So self branch is 2 to 2. So 2 to 2 means it is S22. And it is a V1 to V2 means it is S21, V2 to V3 means it is S32. Okay. So in V2, what will be our potential? What I will write? It is S21 into V1 plus S22 into V2. Because S22 into V2, take this V2 to left hand side. So V2 is equals to S21 into V1 divided by 1 minus S22. Like this I can write or not? Yes. Because when I will take this S2 to V2 to left hand side, it will become 1 minus S22. I have took that particular value here. So it is V1 and V2 is have a relation. It is S21 divided by 1 minus S22. So this is the scattering parameter between V1 and V2 by disseminating that loop. Okay. Then what is V3? V3 is equals to S32 into V2. Done. Now what is V2? V2 is this much. So it is S32 into S21 divided by S minus 22 into V1. So here it is S32. Now since again it follows the series rule, you can see here it is a series rule. So series rule means you have to multiply the scattering parameter. So when you multiply, you will get two nodes V1 and V3, and your total scattering parameters is S21, S32 divided by 1 minus S22. So here we have proved. So like this you have to analyze. These are called as a decomposition rule. From different sort of nodes you are combining form and between two nodes. Here how many nodes are there? 3 nodes. We have converted into 2 nodes. So it's called the decomposition rule. So this is called as a self loop. Okay. Next we have splitting rule. In this splitting rule we have 3 cases. First case I am going to discuss. Next 2 cases, after erasing all this I will tell. So splitting rule, case 1, as you can see there are the 4 different nodes are there. V1, V2, V3 and V4. So V1 to V2 it is S21, 2 to 4 I can write S42, and 2 to 3 I can write S32. Okay, these are the scattering parameter. Now these scattering parameters can also be represented in terms of splitting rule. It can split it up. Means if the branch is shifted to the main branch, then what will be the parameters we are going to identify? That is the splitting rule. It comes under that. So V1 to V2, it is S21. S2 V2 to V3, it is S32. Then we have 1 to 2, it is again S21, and 2 to 4, again it is S42. It is same as this one or not? Just one node I have added with the help of same scattering parameter. With the same scattering parameter. So V2 I have added 1, so that V1 is connected directly to V2. So we are getting S21 and S42, S21 and S32. So this is the scattering parameter. So here I can write V4 is equals to S42 into V2, okay, which is equals to the total value in terms of V1. In place of V2, you can substitute V1 into S21. So it is S42, S21 into V1. So this is the first thing with respect to V4, and with respect to V3, if you are identifying, then it is a series rule, S21, S32 into V1. So these are the resultant relation with respect to the V4 and V3. This comes under your splitting rule. Okay. Okay. So here you can see I have discussed represented two more cases. Here also it is called as splitting. There is one node. Let us consider node A. Okay. In this node, there are four different points are there. Point 1, two different points, 1, 2 and 3. And this is fourth one. Okay. So each branch will have different scattering parameters. Now here you can see all these scattering parameters are parallel in nature. So that means all will be added and it is multiplied with the C4. Okay. So in this case I can write C1 plus C2 plus C3 whole into C4. Then because it is series in nature, up to this it is parallel, then it is series. Now if you split it up, C1, C4, C2, C4, C3, C4. Like this I can write? Yes. So this representation we can also represent like this. Combination of C1 and C4, combination of C2 and C4, combination of C3 and C4. Combination means these all are in series. So C1 is in series with C4, C1 series with C4 and C3 series with C4. So C2 into C4, yes it is there. C1 into C4, yes it is there. C3 into C4, yes it is there. At last what we are doing? At last we are adding up. So this at this particular point we are adding. So what it indicates? It indicates that if we are combining and multiplying the series component, the resultant will become the splitting one. It is called as associative one. A into A plus B plus C whole into D, which is equals to A into D plus B into D plus C into D. That is also comes under that splitting. Similarly, here what we are giving, here it is combined. Now if it is splitting up, if it is divided, it is a power combiner. I can say it is called combiner. Similarly, if it is splitting the power, incident power is C1, let us consider, and it is splitting up, means power divider. So this is called as a power divider. Power is splitting up. So C1 is splitted to C2, C4 and C3. Okay. So that means this I can write C2, C4 and C3 are added up multiplied with C1. So here I can write C1 multiplied with C2 plus C3 plus C4. This I can write C1, C2, C1, C3 and C1, C4. That means C1 is series with C2, C1 is series with C3, C1 is series with C4, and at last we are adding up. So here you can see C1 is series with C2. So first is available. C1 is series with C4. Second is available. And C1 is series with C3. Third is available. And if it is in parallel, you can add it up. So this is the relation through which the splitting of scattering parameters can be analyzed to be identified for a signal flow graph. Okay. Now we are going to discuss about the Mason's gain formula, and then we will take a few numericals so that you can understand what we are doing with respect to the scattering parameters. Okay. Okay. So here we are going to discuss the Mason's gain formula through which we can disseminate the transfer function for a given network. Okay. So as we know that transfer function is equals to P1 del 1 plus P2 del 2 plus P3 del 3 dot 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 up to Pn del n for the nth port. But what is P1, what is del 1? P1 indicates that forward path gain for path 1. If it is P2, second forward path, P3 third forward path, P4 fourth forward path, and Pn is the nth forward path in a given network. Okay. And what is this del 1, del 2, del 3? Del 1, del 2, del 3 means we need to calculate del 1 as 1 minus the non-touching loop to the loop 1 plus non-touching loop to the path 1 with respect to loop 2, then with respect to loop 3. Similarly, what is del 2? Del 2 means it is 1 minus non-touching loop to the second path with respect to 1, then with respect to 2, then with respect to 3, then with respect to 4. How many non-touching loops are there? And how those non-touching loop, how it is not connected to that particular path. With respect to that, we are calculating del 1. Similarly, what is del? Del means it is 1 minus summation of individual loops. Individual loop means loop 1, loop 2, loop 3, loop 4. How many loops are there? So here I have written Pi is the ith forward path gain. It is already known to us. What is del? Del is 1 minus summation of loop 1 plus summation of loop 2 minus summation of loop 3. Loop 1 means non-touching loop. Loop 2 means it is a product of non-touching loop. Then loop 3, it is the non-touching third loop with respect to the total one. Then what is our del 1? Del 1 is 1 minus with respect to path 1 non-touching loop we have to calculate. So it is summation of L of 1 with respect to 1 plus summation of L of 2 with respect to 1 minus some L of 3 with respect to 1 dot dot dot. Similarly, del 2 also we can easily determine. Now how we are going to use this Mason's gain formula for this sort of problems? It is the signal flow graph is given, and how we are going to use this Mason's gain formula to find out this transfer function. Transfer function means output with respect to input. T of S is equals to R of S divided by C of S, output by input, and we have to disseminate it. So what is the procedure? Procedure is first we have to identify the forward paths. Okay. So forward path, how many forward paths are there, that we have to see. You can see this is the first path. This is the first path. So here I will take P1. Done. Then this is the second path, second forward path. So it is P2. Done. Then next is, you can see this one, and it is multiplying with respect to this. So this is path 3. So in this SFG there are 3 forward paths are there. So P1 is equals to 1 into 1 into 1 plus S into 1 into S divided by S plus 2 into 3 into 1, because all are multiplied, all scattering parameters are in series. Series means you have to multiply. So how much we will get? We will get 3S divided by S plus 1 whole into S plus 2. So this is the first path gain. Done. Similarly, second path P2 is 1 into 6 into 1. So second one is 6. Okay. Then P3. P3 is 1 into 1 into 1 divided by 1 plus s, then multiplied with minus 4, then 1. So we will get minus 4 divided by s plus 1. So this is our path 3. Over. So once this path 3 is identified, next you have to see how many loops are there. So here you can see this is one loop and this is one loop. There are 2 loops are there. Okay. So loop 1, so 2 loops. L1 is equals to minus 3 divided by s plus 1. This is the first loop. Second loop, L2. L2 means it is minus 5s divided by s plus 2. So these are the 2 loops are available. Now loops are there, path gain is there, you need to calculate del, and then you have to calculate del 1 and del 2, and then you have to substitute in this particular equation, Mason's gain formula. So let me write that del value. So del is equals to, how many loops are there? 2 loops. Okay. So 2 loops will be 1 minus L1 minus L2 plus L1 into L2. Okay. So this is the del. Then what is del 1? For path 1 all loops are touched. So that means there are no non-touching loops. So del 1 is 1. Done. Then del 2. Del 2 means for this particular path, second path, for this path all 2 loops are non-touching loops. So what I will write? I will write 1 minus L1 minus L2 plus L1 L2. Okay. So this is del 2. And for path 3, path 3 is this one, this inner one. So that means only one non-touching loop is there, that is this, but this loop it is touched. So for non-touching loop it is 1 minus L2. Done, because there is only one loop is there. So if you substitute all this value, we can easily determine what is del, what is del 1, what is del 2 and del 3. So step by step we will see. So let me erase these things. So 1 minus loop 1 is minus 3 divided by s plus 1. Then loop 2 is minus 5s divided by s plus 2 plus, it is 3 into 5 is 15s divided minus plus s plus 1 and s plus 2. So del will be this much, del 1 is this much, del 2 is equals to 1 minus 3 divided by s plus 1, then minus of minus 5s divided by s plus 2, and it is 15s divided by s plus 1 and s plus 2. So this is del 2. And what is del 3? 1 minus 5s s plus 2. So it is 1 minus, it is minus plus 5s s plus 2. So that is equals to 6s plus 2 s plus 2. So all these things you have to put in this particular equation. P1 already we have seen. What is P1? P1 is multiplication of s divided by s plus 1 whole into s plus 2 into 3. So that is P1. What is P2? P2 is this value, this 6 into this one. So P2 is 6. So it is 6 times of this del 2. Then what is P3? P3 is our 1 by 1 plus S whole into this into del 3, multiply it, and what is del? This much. Substitute each and every value in this particular equation. So my transfer function I can write P1 del 1 is 1 plus P2, what is del 2? 1 minus L1 minus L2 plus L1 L2. What is P3 into del 3? 1 minus L2 whole divided by del, that is 1 minus L1 minus L2 plus L1 L2. So this is my transfer function for the given signal flow graph. So like this you have to analyze it, like this you have to disseminate it, and you have to determine the transfer function. We will take one more question. Okay. So as you can see, okay, so it is visible. So as you can see, it is a two-port network which is terminated with a load. This port is terminated with a load, and this port is given with some potential. Okay. Now, since it is a two-port network, how many number of nodes will be there? 4 nodes will be there. 2 nodes with respect to input, 2 nodes with respect to output. A1, B1, A2, B2. And the linkage between these nodes are called as branch. So, this is the signal flow graph we have discussed for the two-port network. Now here load is there. So due to the presence of load, reflection coefficient will be there. So here we need to include the reflection coefficient. Similarly, in the second question when I will discuss how to determine the reflection coefficient at the output, in that case we have to use the reflection coefficient for the source. We have to consider, because as the network operation says, when we are dealing with respect to load, we have to include it. So for load, I have put this reflection coefficient, and it is between B2 and A2. Okay. So as you can see, this is the signal flow graph for the two-port network. This is the additional part I have used due to the presence of this ZL. Okay. Now this is the thing, and we need to identify the reflection coefficient at the input side, like this. Done. Now how we are going to analyze this? We are going to analyze with respect to the Mason's gain formula. It is simple. Okay. So first of all, you need to identify how many forward paths are there. Then you have to identify how many loops are there. Then you have to identify how many non-touching loop with respect to path 1 and how many non-touching loop with respect to path 2. And then you have to substitute all these things in that Mason's gain formula. So since it is a two-port network, my transfer function is nothing but the reflection coefficient at the input side. That is our relation. So here I can write P1 del 1, P2 del 2 divided by del. Okay. Now here it is a simple relation I have represented. I have to identify how many forward paths are there. So as you can see, the one forward path is 1 minute from this point to this point. Okay, how many forward paths are there? One forward path is this, that is having the scattering parameter S11. So here I will write P1 is equals to S11, path gain, and that path is represented with respect to the scattering parameter S11. This is the first. Second, you can see that this is the path, is the second path P2, and others are not represented, means not interlinked with each other. So P2, here path gain, first this path is S21, I will write S21. Then B2 to A2 we have reflection coefficient, yes, reflection coefficient, and then A2 to B1 we have S12, we have S12. So that means this is the path gain for the second one. Done. So there are the two paths are there, two forward path, okay. So these are the two forward paths. Next we have to see how many loops are there. if you can see, this is the first path, and how many loops? This is the one loop is there. This is the closed path loop. Okay, so this particular path do not touch with this particular loop. So how many loops are there? We have to see the loops. There is only one loop, that is L1. And what is that? S22 into reflection coefficient at the load. So here I will write S22 into reflection coefficient of the load, and no other loop. Here you can see there is, the loop is not forming, but the loop is here in this particular path. So that means del is equals to 1 minus L1. No further loops are available. So del is equals to 1 minus S22 into reflection coefficient over. Then what is del 1? Del 1 means 1 minus to the non-touching loop with respect to the path 1. So non-touching loop is this. So here I will write 1 minus S22 into reflection coefficient of the load. And then I will write the transfer function, that is the reflection coefficient. It is P1 del 1 P2 del 2 divided by del. So what is my P1? P1 is S11. What is my del 1? It is 1 minus S22 reflection coefficient. And what is P2? P2 is S21 reflection coefficient of the load into S12. And what is del 2? Del 2 is 1. Okay. Divided by del. Del is how much? 1 minus S22 reflection coefficient at the load. Now since if you divide this particular part with the numerator, you will get S11 plus S21 into S12 reflection coefficient of the load 1 minus S22 reflection coefficient of the load. So this is my reflection coefficient, the input of a two-port network terminated with a load impedance ZL. So this is called as our mismatch thing, what we have discussed in the previous class. If the network is a mismatch, we will have an additional factor with respect to S11. If it is matched perfectly, then reflection coefficient will become as a S11 at the input side. Similarly, you can determine for the output end as reflection coefficient output as S22 plus some additional factor if it is mismatched. If it is matched, then reflection coefficient at the load is equals to S22 we can justify. So this is the simple technique through which we can directly identify the relation rather than substituting n number of parameters here and there. It is a simple technique. First, you need to represent the network in signal flow graph, identify the nodes, identify the branch, assign the scattering parameter to the branches, okay, and then identify the forward path, identify the loops, identify the non-touching loops with respect to one, and then substitute in the message gain formula. And this message gain formula depend upon the number of forward path. Here we have two forward paths, so we are extended up to P1 and P2, del 1 and del 2 and del value. Okay. Now we will see what I have discussed at the output side, means S22 part. So how we are going to analyze? Let us discuss. So we will discuss that output part in the next class, and then we will take few more numericals regarding this signal flow graph. Till then, try to practice that output one, that reflection coefficient of output is equals to S22 plus some additional factor. What will be my additional factor? My additional factor will be reflection coefficient at the output is S22 plus S21 S12 reflection coefficient at the input side 1 minus S11. This input side will become reflection coefficient of the source that you have to consider and divided by reflection coefficient of the source. So this is the relation you have to prove. You try to prove this particular part. Prove it by using the same technique, by using the same concept. Only the thing is, open this reflection coefficient, you have to measure at this particular point and terminate this with respect to reflection coefficient rho s, and then try to solve this. Okay, you try to prove this. Next class we are going to prove this and few numericals. Till then, thank you all.